Hi guys, welcome back to Seduce Me, and we are finally going to be finishing this up. So mainly this is just going to be me breezing past through and just showing you the bad ends and also like the basically the alone ending or whatever you want to call it. So in this session it's like it doesn't matter like what you choose so long as like you don't get along with the incubi. And this is going to happen before we meet Diana. So what we're going to do is just not explore the house, meaning we won't have like all powerful stuff. And yeah, so just work on homework. And it doesn't matter like what you do, as long as you're mean to the incubi and you don't, or the humans, like basically about it. And yeah, okay, I had to work on my homework. I had school tomorrow regardless of what was happening in my life. At that moment I wish school was over. Well, might as well get it done now. I reluctantly took my books out of my bag that sat on the floor. I made my bed in the study picnic area as I began to work through my homework. Basically just studying, not worrying about that. Just get past that. Don't disturb them. Just get past that. I don't know, make pizza or something. Doesn't matter. Go to your room and eat by yourself. I decided against bothering them. They knew where the food was, so I went to my room instead and ate alone in my room. It's not my problem. I turned on my computer and started jamming music as I ate my food. As I ate, I began to think about going out. There are so many places to go, things to do. And what we can do is go to the Pink Lady Cafe. I arrived at the cafe ready to relax. I didn't want to be stuck at home on a Sunday. Besides, the cafe always had something new to drink, no matter how often it came. I entered the double doors and looked around. Not many people were in it. Kay didn't seem to be working today. Oh well, she can't always be working. I made my way to the pastry bar and took a look at what the cafe had to offer that day. There were always something new, no matter where you came. Which is what kept people coming, myself included. Bleh. As I browsed through the lights, my mouth began to water. I had just eaten earlier, but the cafe's pastries always looked good enough to tease your appetite back into a hungry state. Both the smell and the look of each dessert was carefully crafted to appease. You didn't regret buying one and biting into it. I finally made a selection and headed to the cash register to purchase my treat.
What can I get for you?
Hi, I'll take a couple chocolate and raspberry macarons and a Pink Lady latte, please.
Coming right up.
Lily was Kay's assistant, who mainly stuck to the cafe's finances and computer work. However, when Kay wasn't in, Lily took over, becoming the face behind the cash register who gave you what you wanted, or needed. Lily, where's Kay?
Kay had to fly out to New York suddenly. She said it has something to do with delivering something special to someone. I'm not too clear on the details.
Okay, sounds like fun. Wish I could go to New York.
Don't we all? Here you are. Enjoy.
I took my order to a four-corner table and got comfy. The Pink Lady latte was a cafe special that everyone adored. It was a normal latte with a very subtle raspberry flavor. The foam was pink too. Food coloring. Before I could indulge, however, a voice stopped me.
Oh, hey!
I looked up to see Naomi enter the cafe with a smile towards me. I smiled back, not expecting to see her. Hey, Naomi.
Mind if I join you?
Not at all. Naomi nodded before quickly getting herself a coffee cake slice and a latte and joining my table.
I've been wanting to try their latte for a while. Is it any good?
Why did you get it then? I'm sorry, Naomi. Naomi pursed her lips and remained silent the rest of the time. I tried to tell her I was joking, but she became lost in her latte until eventually she left the cafe with a friendly goodbye. I watched her leave with a smile. She was probably had something important to do. I don't want to go home so quickly. I yawned and sipped my latte before Lily came over with a cup of her own.
Mind if I steal this spot?
Not at all. Lily smiled and sat down across from me, sipping her drink.
So, how are you feeling?
I shrugged. I had a lot on my mind, and I was unsure of how to misplaced my feelings. Okay, I guess. A lot of things have happened, so...
That's understandable. Your grandfather always came here when he was stressed or overwhelmed.
You knew my grandfather?
Yes, he was a regular. He was a very kind man. Always gave me extra tips just for smiling at him. However, he mostly came to talk to Kay. They were practically inseparable.
I stared up at Lily, surprised to hear her about my grandfather like this. I always thought he stayed home because of his health, but I guess that wasn't the case. I sipped my drink before tilting my head at Lily. What did my grandfather usually talk about?
The company, mostly. It was stressful for him, but he always left here with a smile. Kay has that special ability to talk to people, I guess.
Lily frowned slightly, looking into her cup.
Kay was affected the most by his death. She didn't come in the day he was publicly announced dead.
Oh, that's an awful way of putting it. I felt myself frown and look at my drink as well. I remember the amount of sadness I felt during his funeral and closed my eyes. Grief is painful and is never easy to cope over. Would I fully move on? Eventually. I let out a small sigh and took a sip of my drink.
He loved to talk about you, you know.
I looked up to Lily in surprise, seeing her smile at me.
He cared for you a lot, and always talked about how you helped him with his toys. The smile he got every time your name came up could brighten a dark room.
I felt my heart warm at Lily's words. She smiled at me and sipped her drink before continuing.
Whatever is going on in your life will pass. Your grandfather had full faith in you and knew you would be happy whatever came your way.
It was like hearing grandfather speak through Lily. I felt my eyes water softly, so I reached up and wiped my eyes from the new-forming tears. I missed him. I really did. Thank you, Lily. It means a lot to hear you say that. Lily smiled and nodded before finishing her drink and standing.
Well, back to work I go. This place can't run on its own.
Lily walked around the table and gently placed a hand on my shoulder.
You'll figure out what to do. Whatever is troubling you.
With that, Lily returned behind the counter as a small line of people entered the cafe. I looked over to see her welcome them before I turned back to my macarons and coffee. I stared into the almost empty cup, letting what Lily told me reverberate in my head and let it warm my heart, my chest in confidence. She was right. I was more than able to get through this whole ordeal. My present and my future were completely in my control. I just had to be confident. I had to do what made me happy. I finished my macarons and coffee, leaving a large tip for Lily, and returned home. It was very late, but it was fine. The remainder of the night passed by, surprisingly uneventful. The boys continued to train with each other, but were kind enough to stop to make me dinner. I was glad for that. And we're just getting through the day. Do-do-do. Walk away. Na-na-na. Wait. I could see Alex pull the trigger before bracing myself.
What the fuck?
I opened my eyes again to see Alex jamming his finger against the trigger, trying to shoot me to no avail.
Well, she either has a barrier spell on her, or you're losing your power.
Shut up! I'm not losing shit! This little brat must have that spell on her!
Here comes the bad end. I felt a wave of relief run through my body. The other devils laughed at Malix, which made him angrier.
I said, shut up!
Malix suddenly moved his gun towards a nearby devil and pulled the trigger. I stared wide-eyed as a bullet from Malix's gun rammed itself into the neck of the devil boy. The wound sputtered fire and blood, causing the devil to scream and flay in extreme pain before falling limp to the ground. As the body hit the floor, it began to almost deform and melt. Blood and black ash poured out of the wound in every opening that body had, causing the smell of death to quickly fill the room. I felt like gagging as the body eventually stopped moving. The body became a deflated balloon, showing me the true nature of Malix's gun. It was now just a pile of blood and skin. The bullet had burnt up the muscle, bones, and any structure the body had to give its form. That could have been me! That could have been me!
Anyone else wanna laugh at me? Huh?
The devils around us shut their mouths, obeying the warning of the obvious master of the space. Malik growled before glaring at me.
As I was saying, it must be some holy magic or some shit like that. Eris?
The girl who had kidnapped me stepped up beside Malix, looking to me. Malix wrapped a strong arm around her waist and pulled her tight against his side before burying his face against her neck. Eris didn't react, but continued to stare at me as Malix ravaged her shoulder and neck in violent kisses. Eventually, Malix pulled away, licking his lips before looking at Eris's face.
Be a dear and get rid of her barrier. Now.
Without another word, Eris walked around me out of my line of sight. As I turned my head to try and follow her, Malix raised his gun to my face, once again, forcing me to stop moving.
I may not be able to shoot you yet, brat. But there are other ways I can beat the living shit out of you.
Wait. I didn't say a single word. I knew how to defend myself against anything he had to offer. I was slowly losing my fear of him, and it was oddly satisfying. All of a sudden, however, I felt air escape me and rush behind me, sucked away from me by a mysterious force. It was like a large vacuum was pulling my soul out from my body. What was even worse was that I felt stuck in place as this was happening. I turned my head to barely see Eris holding a red orb that was absorbing a white stream of air and possibly a magic from my body. Eris kept her eyes to my back, but Malik grabbed my face and made me look back at him, smirking.
That barrier around you won't be protecting you much longer. Be patient, little human.
Before Malik pulled away, he slapped his hand against my cheek a couple of times, not enough to force my head to turn, but enough to hurt and leave a powerful sting. I wanted to do something. I needed to. I was going to die if that barrier was removed. Nope. I stood there. That's all I could do. I waited for someone to save me. I waited for someone to stop Malix and Eris. Waiting was all I could do. Waiting was all I convinced myself I could do. Eventually, I felt lighter, and the air stopped moving around me. Eris had finished her job. I didn't feel so protected anymore. I felt fear consume me as Malix's smirk grew horrifyingly wide.
And that's it for you.
Malix quickly placed the barrel of his gun between my eyes once again and pulled the trigger. I didn't even get a chance to close my eyes. And that's it for you. And so that happened. And I shall move on to the next bad end in a few seconds. So I'll be back. And we're back. Alright, moving on to the next bad end. Fight. I wasn't going to let her win. I knew I could fight her. I began to pull on the hold on me roughly. My mind was fighting, but my body wasn't responding.
You still wish to fight?
Diana rubbed her temples before walking to me.
I've had enough of this.
All of a sudden, Diana grabbed my head, making my mind blank out. I felt large waves of energy zip from my body and mind at her touch, but it intensified as Diana placed her lips on mine. I didn't kiss back. I didn't fight. I couldn't do anything. I could only stare as she drained my body of energy. My body began to go limp, and my mind grew insanely heavy. If I wasn't floating, I would surely be on the ground passed out. How was she able to pull this much energy without doing anything more than kissing me? I would never know. Soon my whole body felt numb, and I felt like an empty spirit floating in midair. Diana slightly frowned at the sight.
Such a waste.
Diana ran a hand over my hair, twirling a strand around her finger.
So long, sweetie.
Before I knew it, I was falling. She had let me go. I could only close my eyes. I didn't feel a thing. And so long, sweetie. Oh. Okay. So I guess now we can, I don't know. There's another one with Diana, but in this case you do have to be more, like, I guess chaotic. And Yeah, we'll move on to that one next. Okay, so I lied. There's 2 of them. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to make a deal with Diana. It's going to be a little different. And I remembered. Demons had a conscience. They weren't heartless without reason. She could be reasoned with. She seemed like a businesswoman. Wait!
What? You're wasting my time.
What about a deal, huh? Diana raised an eyebrow. I was afraid she wasn't one to listen. What if she was as ruthless as I imagined her to be?
I'm listening.
Wait, really? Was she really willing to listen to me? She didn't drop me in the pit of death, but she didn't let me out of her spell. Now was a good time as any to try reason. These memories are precious to me, but they're not worth me losing my life.
Of course.
I mean, if I die, people will wonder and try to find explanation as to why I died or where I disappeared to.
Then just hand over your memories.
What if I traded them to you instead? You seem like a reasonable businesswoman. A trade is better than forcing me to give in, right? This was insane. I didn't even know if she was willing to listen. She had already had me hanging over a pit of death. The only thing I could hope was for her to be forgiving enough to listen to reason.
Well, speak your terms. What do you want in exchange?
I let out a relieved sigh. She was willing to listen further. Well, what can you give me in return for them?
I'm a demon. I can give you anything within reason. Money, men, women, power. Name it. Just make it worth the price.
She could really get me anything? My mind began to wander. What did I want? Power. Diana raised an eyebrow at me.
What kind of power?
Anything. I just want to have it.
You want power, but don't know what kind of power you want. Interesting, human.
I watched as Diana walked over to me and groped my chin. She examined my face, which made me wonder what the heck she was looking for. Did I have something on it? Diana's eyes seemed to allow a glow as she looked into my eyes, which both scared me and made me warm and fuzzy. Diana nodded her head, a small smirk painting her face.
Well, since you didn't specify what kind of power...
I raised an eyebrow. What was she thinking? Diana stepped back and tapped her fingers on her crossed arms, trying to think. I was unsure what ran through her mind, but I hoped it was good. As if coming up with a solution, Diana finally lowered her arms and nodded to herself.
Very well, human. Power you want, so power you shall have.
Diana snapped her fingers, which caused a large beam of purple and black light shoot up from the pit beast below me. I became consumed in it, shutting my eyes tightly. The world around me became dark, and I didn't want to open my eyes for any reason. I couldn't feel myself fall. I couldn't even feel my own body. Darkness surrounded my body, and I felt weightless in its embrace. Was this what I wanted? Where was I? Was I dead? I couldn't be. This couldn't be what death was. What was going to happen to me? Why was I in darkness? I didn't know what was happening. I felt like screaming, but in darkness like this, who would answer? Diana, where are you? I could hear my voice empty into the darkness without echo. I was in an abyss, left alone with no one to turn to. Was this freedom? Was this power? What was this?
You're too chaotic for the world of humans, little girl. I'm going to give you something very valuable, so you best not squander the chance.
I looked around, trying to find Diana. What was she talking about?
You're about to be reborn. You will be reborn into a powerful creature. So powerful, the demon lord himself will learn fear. And I'm going to give you the power to defeat him.
I felt my body quake in pain, suddenly forcing me to curl over my body and cry out. Yeah! My clothes burnt off of me, and I watched in fright as my hands and feet began to darken in an inky and dangerous purple tint. The color traveled through my skin and made my body twitch in both pain and fear. I couldn't help but scream in agony at the pain rushing through me. I felt like my skin was burning away and being replaced by a new shell. It was a torturous mutation. I could feel marks burn themselves into my flesh, marking my body in a purple tattoo gallery. As my head began to feel heavy, I gripped onto the sides of my head, only to feel something growing from each side. I gripped onto the new additions to my head and gasped. Horns. Was I becoming a devil? No. A demon? A demon. Yes, I was a demon. My life flashed before my eyes and burnt away like flowers in a wildfire. Each memory held dear to me no longer existed in my mind, for I only could accept darkness. I was a demon. The name Izeur reverberated in my head. Was it my name? Was it a name of someone close to me? I couldn't place the name, so I placed it into the darkness of my mind as my first memory. I closed my eyes and breathed. I opened them and was staring into a castle hall, seated on a throne. I heard shouts and pleadings for help and aid for the servants around me. They were all scared of the threat that was coming our way. One even approached me and asked what we should do. I stared at the demon servant, recognizing him as an underling, another new memory. I crossed my legs and thought briefly. The demon lord was a powerful demon, willing to kill for territory. New memory. I smirked. Let him come. I'm ready. I felt new memories of the world around me draw up from the darkness in my mind, telling me everything I needed to know about my situation. I was a succubus and the new ruler of a territory the Demon King wanted. I wasn't going to let him take it so easily. I wouldn't allow it. I watched as my underlings scrambled under my command and instructed them specifically on what to do and how to prepare my new land for its intruder. I then remembered. Izeur gave me the power to defeat the Demon Lord while she was out on some mission or another. I would take it and become a new being. Would she return? Not likely. She was too weak to return after ripping open a tear in the human world. She would be on her little mission forever, leaving me with her kingdom unless she found a powerful enough human to grant her access back. She wouldn't know that though. Not until the very last minute. Too bad. I can't be evil, I'm sorry. My mind allowed me to see all of the power I had, and I smirked at the thought of each spell in my mind being powerful enough to wipe out kingdoms. Yes, this is what I wanted. This was my calling. I was free to carve my own path. I had the power to do it. This was my happily ever after, and I was surely going to enjoy every minute of it. And my kingdom. S. Alright. We got one more. I don't know what this end would be, but I think one more bad end, and then there's the last one. Okay, so we got 2 more to go. Be back in a sec. Alright, we're back. And this one, we're gonna say we make a deal with Diana, and we skip past through that, and want her. Skip past all that stuff because we already went through it. Yes. Yes. I'll stay. Skip. I'm not gonna say anything. I sat in silence, waiting for her to be done. She'd be bored eventually. Then again, she was a succubus, so who knew when she'd get bored of attention. At a snap of Diana's fingers, the boys huddled together, back where they were. Diana then turned her head and smiled to me.
See? Easy to manipulate.
Take her hand. You shouldn't have to marry someone you don't love. Not. Skip. Okay, and this is a Tucker. This is another bad end. You killed my grandfather! Rage erupted in my soul and I lunged for Diana, wanting to snap her neck. She started all of this. She was the one who turned my world upside down. She was the reason for this chaos I was in. She would pay. Diana stepped back and forced me back with an invisible spell. I flew back and skated across the grass, tumbling over my feet and landing on my back.
I didn't know I would kill him. I thought it was some teenager musing with magic. If I had known...
Shut up! This is all your fault! I wasn't listening. I couldn't listen to her anymore. I wanted revenge. I needed it beyond anything else she could give me. I jumped up, recovering from her attack, and ran at her again. I was seeing red, and Diana had become my worst enemy.
I'm sorry.
Diana closed her eyes, and all of a sudden I was lifted into the air. I flailed and struggled against the invisible hold that was on me. I couldn't move my arms or my legs as Diana began to walk towards me.
I really am sorry.
I didn't want to hear it. I began to scream and cry. I wanted her dead. I wanted my grandfather back. I wanted my normal life to return to me. No magic to hurt me. No magic to haunt my life. No energy to take away with the ones I loved. No more. Diana approached me and grabbed hold of my head, forcing me to stare at her face. I saw tears run down her cheeks as she leaned in and kissed me. I could feel my energy rush through my body, and I could hear Diana using her spell to force it out of me. No! No! I didn't want this! I tried to bite her, turn my head, anything. I couldn't move a single muscle, and I could only feel my energy deplete from my body. As my body became numb, I watched as Diana pulled away from me. Her eyes were full of regret and almost anguish.
I'm sorry.
Then my world went black.
I know.
I heard voices and tried to open my eyes, but I couldn't.
You don't need to remind me, Angel. I'm just doing my civil duty.
An angel? What was an angel doing here? What was Diana talking to it? Gonna get baptized.
Do what you need to do. I've already destroyed one life, and now I have to destroy another. All from my kingdom. Angel, do it now before I change my mind. I'm sorry.
Within a mere breath, my body suddenly became light as a feather, and I became numb. I felt my body float downwards into an empty black abyss, as if I was drowning in water. I never saw it coming. My mind became completely blank. I had no memories, no feelings, nothing. I became a blank canvas, a body without a soul. Pure, innocent, ignorant. And pure, innocent, ignorant. Alright, and now we're going to move on to the final ending. Okay. Again, be back in a sec. Back again. Alright, and this time we're going to give up the memories. My mind began to wander. Were the memories truly worth my life? I remembered the way the boys helped organize the house party and helped me home after Malix's ordeal. But then I remembered, I'm only human. I wasn't a demon. I wasn't special. The world of magic was too large for me. I already had a world to face without magic being involved. I felt a wave of sadness run through me, replaying the memories of all that had happened the past few days one last time before speaking up. Fine, take my memories. I couldn't keep them. They were beyond my world. They were beyond what I needed to know. I was never meant to know of them. Diana nodded.
Glad you understand now.
The pit beast below me closed its jaws, vanishing into nothing as I was lowered to the ground. I stood up straight and looked to Diana, resolved. Diana sighed before closing her hands and muttering Latin phrases under her breath, loud enough for me to barely hear. She then opened her hand and revealed a small purple vial. What is that?
A memory potion. It will remove all of the memories of demons and magic from your mind. With the memories gone, you can live your life as free as you want.
What about the boys?
I have a spell for them. As soon as you drink that potion, you sign your contract with me, and I will take the boys back to where they belong.
Will they remember me?
I'll make sure they won't. They won't even remember ever thinking about coming to the human world.
Why didn't you use it before now? Why do I have to drink it knowingly?
Because demon magic isn't black and white, dear. The one catch is that the potion has to be drunk with full natural consent. So I can't just slip it into your chocolate milk or pour it into your mouth as you sleep. That's the downside of good succubus magic.
So I'll be...
A plain, boring human. No potential, no abilities, no memories to even have abilities. You'll be a plain Jane girl in a plain Jane world.
I nodded before looking to the vial. My memory in exchange for my humanity. I popped the cork of the vial and gingerly brought it to my lips. Goodbye, magic. Goodbye, demons. Goodbye, strange light, future. Hello, normalcy. I tilted my head back and chugged the drink down, feeling its magic already starting its work as it reached the inside of my mouth. I felt dizzy and sick, but I sucked down every last drop of the liquid. I felt the memories of the boys fade away. I never met them in my house when I moved in. I was never attacked by Malix or his goons. I never was kidnapped. I never met Diana. As I finished drinking, I felt my body grow weak, almost becoming unable to continue standing up. My vision was blurred and fuzzy, and I couldn't help but let my eyes shut. I asked for this. I wouldn't have the boys protecting me anymore. I didn't even open my eyes when I finally fell forward into Diana's arms.
It's for your own good, sweetie. Forget about it and be normal. I'm sorry.
I felt my mind slowly relax. There were no demons, no devils, no magic to drive me crazy. Everything was normal. Everything was peaceful. Everything was ordinary. Just the way Diana wanted. Just the way I wanted. Eventually, the morning arrived and the sun screamed at me to get up. Surprisingly, I woke up before my alarm clock, which was nice. I stretched out and quickly got dressed, getting ready for school. I went over in my mind what happened over the weekend, suddenly feeling wary. I had moved in Friday night, held a house party Saturday, and enjoyed my day Sunday. Yep, sounds right. I scooped up my bag and headed downstairs to the dining room. The room was empty, and I felt hungry. I needed to eat something. I made myself some quick toast and coffee, needing a jump start. I felt drained, and I did not want to fall asleep in class. Something bothered me, though. My house felt empty, or at least emptier than when I came for some reason. I couldn't put my finger on it, but it slightly bothered me. I finished my food and quickly rushed to the front, waiting for Naomi's car and confident that nothing was going to happen. I avoided talking about what happened yesterday. I'll be writing with you guys from now on, to and from school. As we entered the school, we quickly gathered our things from our lockers and headed to class. There were no events, to my surprise. Naomi and Suzu took their seats around me, Suzu in front of me, Naomi beside me, before the class bell rang and the class was greeted by our teacher. History wasn't as boring as economics, but I still managed to space out in that class just the same. I decided to keep my eyes on my notebook. I began to scribble random doodles, some which stuck out to me more than others. I had somehow managed to doodle a small bear with a heart on its stomach. I cracked a small smile at the image, imagining the heart lighting up to my paper as I pressed the eraser to my pencil on it. I remember what had happened last week, slowly frowning at the memory of my grandfather. I guess it was still hard to let him go. To lose someone is never easy, but I knew that moping and letting his memory get to me wouldn't do any good. I felt, though, that he was watching over me. As stupid as that may sound, I felt that I was somehow safe. Like it was okay to not focus on school or my future and just live in my own little world. I could be a little girl and draw pictures instead of plan out the rest of my life and be perfectly happy. Sadly, I knew that wasn't realistic. Graduation was slowly coming up and my mind had wandered into the future once again. What was I going to do? It was hard to think about. At this rate, I just wanted to wing it. No decisions had to be made ahead of time in my little world. No disappointments would come out into whatever I decided to do in my own little world. Hell, maybe I even found a perfect magical love in my little world and life would just turn out like a dream. It was sad to think that my world wasn't real, yet my heart still wished that it was. I gently squeezed inside my chest, almost convincing me that magic could be real. My mind knew better. I let out a small sigh, letting my little world hide away in my thoughts as the class bell rang. Naomi and Suzu smiled at me, making me feel a bit better. At least I still had my friends. I quickly gathered my things and left to my next class. My life became a blur. I was once again surrounded by people moving faster than myself as I walked through my life in slow motion. I felt that I could stop and the world would continue moving in high speed. Memories of childhood haunted me throughout the day, throughout the week, throughout the month. Soon, I let my entire last semester pass me by and I was on the cusp of graduating. I never felt more nervous about my life. What would happen after I touched my diploma? Would real life just sweep me away? Would I be left alone in a void of my own doing? It was hard to say. I stared at the graduation forms covering my dining room table, unable to process all the information on them. I'm gonna graduate. My mind settled to the hushed rumble of the thoughts of graduating. I was nervous, excited, worried, bored, anxious, and angry all at once. What was I going to do? Where was I going to go after this was all over? What was in my future? And why did my house feel so empty? I sighed and put my forehead against the wood of my table. My head had begun to spin and I needed to stop. Closing my eyes, I counted my heartbeat as it pounded in my head. What broke my concentration was my doorbell ringing. I lifted my head and walked over into the lobby to open the door. Who is it?
It's your father.
My hand froze on the doorknob. Why was he here? I could practically feel the incoming lecture we were about to have emanating from the cracks of the door. I felt my nervousness take hold of my emotion as I simply stood there staring at the frosted glass on the door at my dad's figure. What is it?
I wanted to talk to you. It's important.
I opened the door, ushering him in. There was no use in denying the inevitable. My father stepped in and looked around the lobby like an investigative health inspector. I couldn't help but press my lips together in irritation. What did he want to talk about?
You've kept the place clean. Good.
Thank you.
I want to talk about your future.
Great. What about it? I'm going to graduate and go to college.
That's not what I meant. I meant about you being part of Anderson Family Toys.
I stared. Was he serious right now? Did he really want to add another stress point in my life? I felt myself glare out of pure irritation with the topic. What about it?
Do you want to be part of the company?
Was he seriously asking me? Was I getting an option? This had to be a test. This couldn't be real. You said I was to be...
I said, do you want to be part of the company?
I felt my mind go blank. Did I want to be part of the company? If this chance was real, this was my one chance to do what I wanted without expectation over my head. I wanted to be free. I wanted to fly high and find my own path of life. If that was really a future with the company, I would be taken there on my own choice, not on the command of my father. If my future took me far away, then I wanted that chance to go. No, I don't.
May I ask why?
I want to choose my own future. I don't want to be stuck to expectation. I felt my mind begin to fill with ideas of the future and dreams and goals that I could possibly fulfill with a new freedom. I want to decide what to do with my life. If it's what Anderson Family Toys, then I want my heart to bring me there. My heart tensed in fear. Was he going to scold me? Was he going to be happy? What was he going to do? His sigh almost frightened me to death.
You should do what makes you happy.
Finally! What? Did he really? Dad?
I'll admit, I've been harsh on you. I thought that me pushing you would make you confident to take the family company. With you being in this place, though, I was worried that you'd turn out as curious as your grandfather.
Then why did you send me here?
Because I wanted to see what you would do if you weren't constantly under my influence.
My dad placed a hand on my head and rubbed it gently as I stared up in confusion at him.
Looking at you now, I see a grown woman, ready to take on the world. I deeply regret not being the dad I was supposed to be.
Suddenly, I felt my dad pull me into an embrace, burying his head in my shoulder. I stared wide-eyed over his shoulder, unable to take in what was happening. Was he hugging me for real? Was he seriously in regret?
I should have let you be a kid a little while longer. Now that you're grown up, I can't guide you anymore.
I began to shake. This was real. This had to be. This was too emotional to be a dream. I gripped onto my dad, making sure my senses weren't lying to me.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
My dad pulled back slightly and gently moved a strand of hair from my face, smiling at me.
I love you, sweetie.
And then I broke. The world finally was able to freeze completely as I held onto my dad and cried onto his shoulder. I let my mind completely empty and fill itself with memories of my dad and me. He used to be kind. He used to care. Something took that dad away from me, and now he was back. I could feel his love for me as he held me close and let me cry onto his shoulder. He finally said, "I love you." Daddy!
My baby girl. I'm so proud of you.
I leaned completely into my dad's embrace as he supported me to stand. I felt like a little girl again, and it was both pathetic and blissful. I didn't care. I was with my dad. My dad gently pulled away and kissed my forehead, letting me hiccup with a small smile.
No matter how old you are, you'll always be my little girl. I may have screwed up your childhood, but let me make it up to you in the future.
I nodded, wiping my eyes. I finally could have a dad who didn't see me as an investment, but saw me as a daughter. My heart was jumping in my chest in joy while my mind was filled with happy thoughts. I felt like I could do anything now. My dad rustled my hair a bit before stepping away from me.
Now, I have to take your mom out to dinner. It's been a while since we've gone out, but I think it's time to apologize to her as well.
He's smiling. For what?
For being a burden she had to carry. She's always supported you from the sidelines, but I didn't let her completely be a wife and mother. It's time to make her happy now.
My dad and I smiled at each other. We understood each other now, and I was happy beyond words. My dad left my house, but not completely alone. I knew that he would support me now with whatever I wanted to do. I smiled and held my hands to my chest, feeling my heart pulse. I'll be okay.
Yes, you will be.
I quickly turned to the voice to see a woman dressed in a black and gold dress, smiling at me. It was as if she appeared from out of thin air, and I went into defense mode. Who are you?
Relax, relax. I'm just passing by.
What do you mean? How did you get in here?
You don't need to know that. I only came here to pick up a little something, and then I'll be gone.
What are you? With the snap of the woman's fingers, I suddenly felt myself get warm. This feeling was familiar, but I couldn't pinpoint how. What was she doing to me? I watched as the woman walked to me and gently lifted my chin to look at my face with a smile.
A kiss for the road, sweetie. I had to do a lot of running around, and it's made me need a pick-me-up.
I felt myself nod. What was I doing? The woman smiled and gently lowered her face to kiss me. I felt like melting into the kiss, but I knew deep inside that this was beyond wrong. How was she doing this? Why? Why was she doing this? I felt my strength and energy drained from the kiss, and soon I felt my legs slightly wobble in weakness. The woman pulled away and placed a small purple vial in my hand.
Drink up, sweetie. You need it.
I nodded and opened the vial before pouring its contents into my mouth. It was sweet, like fruit, but it wasn't overpowering, and I felt my energy return to my body as the last drop that dripped into my tongue. Huh? What?
A gift from me, as a thank you for giving me the strength to finally take what is mine.
What is yours? The woman smiled before nodding to me and walking back around to the door. As she opened it and took a step out, she looked back to me.
Praeteritorium poscunt, corrige augurium, delir memoria.
As she closed the door behind her, I suddenly felt my mind go back to being happy. What had just happened? Oh right, my dad had just left. I felt more confident than ever, and I knew that I could take on anything. I rushed over to the dining room and looked over the graduation papers with a small smirk. I can do this. Eventually, my graduation came along. I walked across the school stage and took my diploma with grace. The rest of the story could almost be passed over. I graduated from school as one of the top 10 students of my class. My family was proud. But what of my future? Well, that was free for me to decide now. No longer would I have the future scaring me into a corner. I could choose my life on my own. That being said, I was still scared of where the future was going to take me. What did I want to do? Did I want to help build the family company? Did I want to venture off on my own? Whatever I was going to do, I was going to do it with a smile on my face. I was happy, and nothing could shake me down from that happiness. The next morning, I woke up and took in all that had happened as if it was all a dream. My life seemed to fall perfectly into place. It was almost surreal. I walked over to my balcony window and opened it, stepping onto the patio and staring into the sky. It was beautiful. The wind gently brushed over my face as I looked to the smell of the morning. I felt a wave of confidence rush through my body as I stared into the sky. I'll be fine. I'll be just fine. I was confident that I could do anything now. My life was in my hands, and I was strong enough to carry it. I was alone for now, yes, but eventually I knew that I would be happy at the end of my journey. I still had 100 battles to face, 1,000 memories to make, and 1,000,000 stories to write. This was just one of those stories, and that was my happily ever after, and my freedom. M. Yay, we're done! It only took us 6 months, I think. 6.5 months. Still, that's a really long time, but I'm so glad you guys stuck along with me, and as this was really, I really did enjoy this game, but I don't know what else to say. It's just I'm happy this is like the first really long playthrough that I've finished, and I don't know, I guess I'm gonna feel a little sad having to put this away for a little bit, but not to worry because Seduce Me 2 demo should be coming out sometime in October, I hear. So I guess I'd have to look forward to that, and in the meantime, I'm just gonna have to figure out some new games to play. But we do have one more thing we gotta do before that. We put together all the letters we've gotten, all of the routes we've done, and then we will unlock the secret thing. But anyways, I guess we can leave that for no, I'm gonna finish it. Yeah, I want to make sure this is finished like that. I know I feel like ending it right now, but yeah, we're gonna move on to putting all these letters together, and yeah. So one moment. Here we go. All caps, no spaces.
Hmm.
TRANSFORMSIMON.
This house seems a bit much for one person. Huh? Oh, hello there. Aw, aren't you adorable? What are you doing here? You don't seem to be just a stuffed animal. Well then, you seem interesting enough. Might as well see your true form.
What the? What did you do to me?
I released you from your smaller form. So much magical energy shouldn't be shoved into just a small toy.
You changed me? Why?
Because you shouldn't be forced to live as just a simple stuffed animal. I merely wanted to help.
Well, now how am I supposed to sneak around? I'm too big now!
Don't get fussy with me. You can transform back at will. I merely unlocked the door to that form.
You're weird.
So much for generosity. I just want to get this over with. So many technicalities. Don't give me that look. If anything, this is your fault. Don't give me that silent treatment. I don't want this, but if this romance story needs another villain so badly, then I have no choice in the matter. However, I will come out of this victorious one way or another. I will not let my kingdom fall because of this stupid story. Stubborn, as expected of you. You're as heartless as the Demon Lord. You should probably excuse yourself now. The human will be here soon, and I want to make my entrance without you hovering over my shoulder. This isn't what I want, but that's how the story is written.
Congratulations. Yay! We are done! And this is the title screen. But, yep, that's the end of Seduce Me. I guess we can look at some extras for a little bit. I know I'm postponing this a lot more than I should, but gallery. And this is all of the Mika's stuff. And Naomi's. And Suze's. And Andrew. Diana. We don't see those because there's something that may not be appropriate. Writer's letter. Anyways, I guess this is the end for now. Thank you so much for staying tuned with this whole playthrough of Seduce Me from start to finish. And thank you so much for watching, and also so much for so many subscribers. And I guess I'm going to say that I probably wouldn't have gotten so many subscribers without this game. But I guess so. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!